2011, our official council meeting for the month of October. And if you could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And at this time, to make this meeting official, I'd ask Clerk Spencer to call the roll, please.
Pezza.
Here.
Gutenkopf.
Here.
Leader.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
Graham.
Here.
Polemski.
Here.
York.
Here.
Hipskin.
Here.
Healy.
Here.
Levin.
Here.
Kennedy.
Here.
Morley. Absent. Wagner.
Here.
Mulliner.
Here.
13 present, 1 absent.
13 present, 1 absent. We have an official quorum. And we'll go on to the next item on our agenda, which is a special recognition for character counts. And as you can see, we're all very festively in uniform today. Many of the aldermen, myself, and our city manager, all wearing our character count shirts. And we have probably one of the top pillars, when we talk about character counts, talk about 6 pillars of character. One of the top pillars of character is the president of character counts, Dr. John Jevitz. Dr. John, take it away, sir.
Boy, is this town awesome or what? Look at all these people. Everybody's supporting character counts. When's the last time a city supported an initiative like this where every organization is supporting it? It's phenomenal. So what a great tribute to the #1 suburb. And I just left York High School, the #1 volleyball team in the state. And right before I left, there are 4, congratulations to York. Right before I left, there are 4 captains, Carolyn Rose, and 4 of these girls are going on full rides. Carolyn Rose, Morgan Semmelheck, let's see, and 2 other girls on the team. All said they're going to do a special initiative, just a special project, just for character counts. We want to thank them, Katie Gallagher, and then 1 other girl. So anyway, we'll start out right now. I'm going to introduce a couple people, and they're going to tell us about the importance of character in their jobs, is how it basically is going to pertain to the city as well as the government. And the first person I'd like to lead off with is a pretty impressive man that's helped us build Barron's Park as well as so many other projects in Elmhurst, former Speaker of the House, Lee Daniels.
It's interesting that he got me in a T-shirt. That's what I thought was most fascinating. But looking at the council, you all look great. So thank you very much, and thanks for bringing out this great organization and the 6 pillars of character counts. And of course it does in government just as it does in everyday life. And if you want to move forward in any kind of profession or any issue of responsibility, you need to have character and the 6 pillars of our character. And if I might take a few moments, just introduce my state and local government class at Elmhurst College. They're here tonight. If you just stand up and wave to everybody. I can tell you each one of them has great character. They're all A students, and we'll then see what happens on the final exam. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And also thank you for the students from the greatest college in the country, Elmhurst College, my alma mater as well too, so we wish you guys all the best. I know there's many speakers here tonight from many organizations. Virtually every organization in this town is here tonight to represent character counts. Dr. Jevitz, would you like to take it away and announce those folks? And I think they've got a few words to say as well.
Sam Schrenker is the student from York that I forgot on the volleyball team. Now, next speaker. Now, we've got a number of speakers from every major organization in town. We can't thank them enough for showing up tonight. Next one, Police Chief Steve Neubauer. Come on up, Steve.
Thanks. We've had character counts in Elmhurst since 2004. I was one of the originating board members. 6 pillars of character, and I can mention them all. Trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. If everybody in this community took those to heart, you'd put the police department out of business. So we should have a goal. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chief.
Fire Chief Mike Kopp.
Thank you. As for the fire department, we really believe in the character counts initiatives.
I mean, you think about people trust us to come into their homes when they're in dire straits. We have to be trusted. We have to have good character. The fire department believes in good character.
You bear with us, the funnest part's going to be at the end when you meet Mrs. Illinois, Christine Garcia, whose platform for Mrs. Illinois is Character Counts, and she's going to go on a 75-city tour around the state, promoting Character Counts as well as going for Mrs. USA. Next one, City Manager Jim Grabowski.
There we go.
Thank you, Dr. John. For those who don't know, I've been here a short time, 3 months, but I can already tell that character counts in our organization, and it's my intent to make sure that character continues to count from my office into everybody in the organization.
All right.
John Quigley is going to represent 4 organizations. He's going to represent Elmhurst College Blue Jay Backers. He's CEO of the Chamber of Commerce and also president of Kiwanis.
When Character Counts first started up almost a decade ago, it was viewed as a school-based initiative. What can we do in our classrooms? And organizations like the City of Elmhurst, the Elmhurst Park District, and the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce said, if you don't model it, if the adults don't show the way for the kids, it doesn't matter what you try and teach them in the classroom, the adults have to model it. So from the very get-go, the City of Elmhurst, the Elmhurst Park District, and the Chamber of Commerce joined with Elmhurst Public School District 205. And over the years, the Chamber of Commerce has been proud to do several initiatives that have raised money to help fund Character Counts events. I go back to a movie called An American President. Michael Douglas is the president, and near the end of the movie, he says, I can tell you one thing, being president is all about character. And governing and living in this community is all about character. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Elmhurst Park District, Jim Rogers.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to be here tonight representing the Park District. As has been said, and as John said, we're proud to be one of the founding members of Character Counts in the community, and also very proud and pleased that we've served, I think, 2 vital roles in that. We've been able to, through the use of parks and banners at parks and banners and signage in the community center, really get the word out and continue to have that message out there. And secondly, and most importantly, going back to teaching, we've actually taken it down to the youngest levels where we continue and have since 2004 to be teaching the Character Counts pillars in our Sunbeams and Rainbows preschool, so all the way down to 3-year-olds. So again, we're very pleased to have been a part of it from the beginning and look forward to it moving into the future. Thank you.
One of our goals this year is to give 3,000 t-shirts to York High School students before they graduate. We've already given away about 3,500 so far this year, as well as IC and other places. All the aldermen, all the city workers, all the civic organizations, the Park District employees, the fire, and the police all received our t-shirts as well this year. Our next speaker, welcome again to this community, 3,000 students alone he's in charge of, Superintendent Dr. Dave Pruneau.
Well, I really feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the room because this is just the kind of program that I think goes unheralded with all the talk about accountability and achievement. And that's not to say that academic achievement is not important, but can you imagine a community that didn't value the kind of character that we're trying to build in our students? That would be a dim future for all of us. So I can't thank all of Elmhurst and the community as a total group to recognize how important character building is for our students, for their future. And all of us partnering and modeling that kind of behavior speaks volumes about this community and how important students are, children are to our future. And just the fact that you're sitting here supporting the program, putting on t-shirts tonight to show your support sends just a great message, even to the students in this room tonight that are here. So on behalf of Elmhurst 205, I can't thank you enough. Character is another pillar that we should be teaching every day in our schools because when students leave Elmhurst 205, we want to make sure that they're productive, contributing members of our community, no matter where they end up. And I think that's all of our goals. So thank you for being supportive, for helping out, and I can't thank you enough. Thanks to each of you.
Number one suburb, also number one library, Elmhurst Library. The new head of Elmhurst Library, Mary Beth Camp.
Excuse me. Hello, everyone. We support character counts at the Elmhurst Public Library by providing residents with an opportunity to explore, learn, and grow in an environment that fosters respect, integrity, access, and lifelong learning. Thank you.
Our representative for Rotary tonight is going to be Pete DeCiani.
Thank you, Dr. John. On behalf of President Rabideau, Jenny Rabideau from the Rotary Club of Elmhurst, Elmhurst supports character counts because it passes the four-way test of Rotary. That four-way test is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? So Rotary supports character counts, and I thank you.
Head of JC, Shazad Mehta.
Well, to borrow a line from my dad, what a wonderful room of characters we have here. The JCs, like any good organization or community such as Elmhurst, draws its strength from its membership. Membership of the highest moral character is very, very hard to come by, so it's very invaluable. Thank you very much for supporting Character Counts, and keep on supporting it.
All right, we have the number one police, fire, aldermanic group, mayor. Now, the number one new hospital in the state is going to be Elmhurst Hospital, and the new CEO of Elmhurst Hospital with 3,100 workers is here, Peter Daniels.
Thank you and good evening. At Elmhurst Memorial Healthcare, character means living out our pride values of partnership, respect, integrity, determination, and excellence. These are the principles that guide our daily interactions and define the way that we fulfill our mission of improving the health status of the communities we serve. As a community hospital, we're neighbors caring for neighbors. Our character comes from the belief that we are at our best when we are working together to treat our patients and one another with compassion and goodwill. It shows through our commitment to always doing the right thing, challenging the status quo with confidence and enthusiasm, and showing and sharing an unwavering focus on quality and service in all that we do. Thank you.
York High School Student Council President and hopefully Stanford student next year, Jack Hennessy.
Thank you, Dr. Jevitz, for having me here tonight. I think that one of the greatest aspects of York is its great commitment to character. Good character is so deeply woven into the fabric of our school and our community at large. And I think that events like this are really important because they're a testament to how much Elmhurst truly cares about character, especially the leaders who are gathered here tonight who help celebrate and further this great cause. And I just wanted to say thank you, and also good luck to Mrs. Garcia in her petition to Mrs. United States. And thanks for having me here tonight.
All right, a surprise guest tonight. We're almost done. Mr. Illinois is here. John Garcia from Channel 7 News. Come on up, John.
This is so much fun. I'm so used to being sort of the one in the family who gets a little bit of attention because what I do puts me on TV occasionally. And it's so nice to take a back seat to my beautiful wife. I'm so proud of her. But it's also a real honor to be able to talk just briefly about character counts because my daughter Tessa, who's over here, and my other daughters who are in the crowd are as well as Jack, are the people that we are doing all of this for, because they are our future, and I'm just amazed at this community. When I walked in and saw everybody wearing the Character Counts t-shirts, and then you look around the room, I mean, since we've moved here, we've been so impressed with every facet of the community, the schools, the library, the park district. It's just overwhelming how great a community this is, and we hope to keep it a secret, right? Not really. Unfortunately, I think the secret's out. But when I look about and see all of this, I realize there's probably only one guy in the community who could have gotten us all here and gotten us in these t-shirts. Doc Jev, thank you so much. And with that, I want to call you up because I think we're going to move along.
Okay, this is one of the fun parts and why we're here. So I just want to say, a few years ago, I met Christine Garcia. She just had her 4th child. She had a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 4-year-old. So she had her hands full, and she started working out. And she, at Mrs. Illinois, won Mrs. Fitness. She also won Best Evening Gown. And we went to it, and I was just blown away. The competition, she was tremendous. Now, about 4 or 5 months ago, Peter, she was in your hospital with blood clots and told that she could do nothing for at least probably a year. She came back from that, goes for Mrs. Illinois, wins, and you want to talk about a woman on a mission to win Mrs. USA and tour the country speaking about how great Elmhurst is and how great the characters are in Elmhurst. That's going to be Christine Garcia. I am just blown away by her work ethic, and no one will have a better shot at winning than Christine, and I couldn't be more proud to introduce her as a friend. Christine, come on up.
The thing my husband forgot to mention is, we're used to seeing him on the 10 o'clock news, so I'm not used to seeing him in the evening. And he was torn between Monday Night Football or coming here, but he knew what the better decision would be. I'm really proud to be a resident of Elmhurst. My husband and I moved here, like he said, 4 years ago, and we knew at the time that the schools were good, and that was very important, but we didn't really realize how lucky we were until we discovered the Park District. And our kids are small. They take a variety of classes there. We live right by the Wagner Center. And when they were in Sunbeams and Rainbows and they were learning about character education and they were learning it through Marilyn Connolly's free classes that she offers, in fact, there's one on the 20th, we were blown away. And we thought, how great is this that the entire community is all about the pillars? And we began to notice it throughout the whole town. The principles of character are ingrained in everything from our police department, our fire department, the community service organizations, and most importantly, the schools. As a parent of 4, it is comforting to see how the community supports the students when they do well, whether it's the star football team player or it's the head of the class with the student body. It's a chance to give the younger generations role models, which is so important and something that everyone strives for. I've seen how Character Counts works for our daughters, and while they're small, the program's carried out in the middle schools and high schools all the way to Elmhurst College. Dr. John Jevitz and I talked about what my platform was going to be in the early stages of my deciding to enter the Mrs. Illinois International competition, and who knew it would be the opportunity to share what is working so well in Elmhurst with our entire state. That's why in my year of service, I will travel throughout Illinois, enhancing one core pillar, and I chose respect. I'm going to be talking to children about the importance of treating each other with respect, sharing and being kind to one another with the hopes that when they are in middle and high school, they think twice before picking on someone because they're different, or maybe they don't have the most popular brand of shoes. Parents today face challenges that most of us never could have imagined. What was once considered harmless child's play on the playground has reached crisis levels. What's changed? Technology, the speed in which children can be mean, and the broader ways they can be mean with texting, Facebook, emails, and camera phones. In talking about respect with older students, I hope that they will make better decisions when they're about to mass text an inappropriate photo throughout the student body, to bully someone online because it's easier to do than face-to-face, And I want to encourage parents to become involved in Twitter, Facebook, and see what kids are doing instead of turning their backs on technology. National Character Counts Week is a wonderful opportunity to spread the word about the importance of character and to talk to our families about it around the dinner table. I encourage you to use real-life examples with your children that they can relate to. It's wonderful that the Character Counts Board hosted its first community golf outing this summer and have had a variety of other charity events to drum up support and the money needed to hand out thousands of t-shirts so that everyone will see that character counts in Elmhurst. I appreciate your support tonight and will have all of you in my heart as I travel around Illinois, taking the platform from the schoolyard to cyberspace and helping other communities become more like the one that my husband and my family and I call home, which is Elmhurst. Thank you.
Stay close, because we have one more thing to give here, and that's a proclamation on behalf of the city of Elmhurst. And I am so proud that we are a Character Counts community and that we have soon to be an ambassador after I make this proclamation that will be out touring the state of Illinois on behalf of Character Counts and on behalf of the city of Elmhurst. So here we go. Whereas Christine Garcia was crowned Mrs. Illinois International 2012 in the MAC Theater at the College of DuPage. And whereas her platform for the competition was Character Counts, and she is an active certified proponent of the Character Counts education program. And whereas she plans on visiting school districts throughout Illinois to promote and educate all ages as to the importance of great character. And whereas Christine will be acting as the honorary ambassador for the city of Elmhurst while traveling the state not only as Mrs. Illinois International 2012, but also representing our community to emphasize the importance of the 6 pillars of Character Counts. And whereas Christine has been involved in the first annual Character Counts in Elmhurst golf outing, participating in a 4x4 relay at the Chicago Shoreline Marathon, and as a contributor to today's Chicago Woman magazine, and is married to John Garcia, our very own, and they are the proud parents of 4 beautiful daughters. Now, therefore, I, Peter P.D. Ciani III, Mayor of the City of Elmhurst, do hereby proclaim October 17, 2011 as Christine Garcia Day and Character Counts Week in the City of Elmhurst and acknowledge her dedication and service to the community and the city that we call home. God bless. Thank you. Absolutely. If I could invite all of the pillars that are representing all the organizations to come up to the on the dais, and we're going to do a quick group shot with the city council. Please, if you could, that'd be great. Including the intern Lee Daniels from Elmhurst College.
Did I go the wrong way? Are we going to go down here? Some of us in front. Everybody's going
yeah, we could probably put some in front. That'd be great.
How is this going to work?
That's right.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. Shannon Hennessy Ebner, I thought I saw her from our school board. Is she here? Shannon at?
All the way down? Which one did you get?
Okay. Hey, Shannon.
Fairness.
We have one of our elected officials here from District 205. Shannon, would you like to come up and take a picture with us? That'd be great. It's nice to have elected officials.
No blackface. How are we going to do this?
Let's just stay right there. John? No, over to the other side just a little bit. You're good. Right there. We're good. We're good.
Block. Just a little.
Here, let me move this part.
Standing up? Okay. Oh, you're kidding. You're bad. I'm going to get it out as soon as we
Guys, if you, yes, from, can I? From about here, you're not in the picture. From about here, you think from about here, you're not in the picture. Some of us sit above that.
You want us standing? Got to roll behind us.
All right, how we're going to do this is everybody's lined up. Instead of say cheese, we're going to say hip, hip, hooray. All right, on 3. We good?
Everybody in the back, if you can make sure I can see you. Everybody be seen here? We see you. Are you ready?
1, 2, 3, hip, hip.
Hooray! Say a couple more.
Hip, hip,
Hooray!
hooray! Thank you. daughter has definitely lost interest already.
Like a hero of the night now.
All right, well, that was a great honor, and now we have another honor here. Next on the agenda is a recognition from the Elmhurst Heritage Foundation, the Ruth Strand poster contest winners, and I see Mrs. Braun is here from our commission, one of our commissioners on the Historical Commission. Mrs. Braun, if you'd like to take it away.
Thank you very much for giving us time tonight to introduce the winners of our annual Ruth Strand Poster Contest. I'd like the poster contest winners and honorable mentions to come up now, please. While they're coming up, let me tell you a little bit about our annual contest. Each year, we invite second and third graders from Elmhurst schools to submit a poster that has something to do with local history. This year we had over 400 entries, so the ones that were selected as winners really did an outstanding job to be part of this contest and to represent us tonight. So I'd like to introduce them to you. You might notice that at the back of the room on the display boards are copies of their posters.
If any of the parents want to walk up here, feel free to.
Absolutely.
Come on.
First place winners this year were Caitlin Gilmay from Lincoln School and Ben Boxall from Field School. Second place, Abby Conglialese and Maya Ankiji. Abby's from Emmanuel Lutheran and Maya's from Jackson School. And then honorable mentions, James Carroll from Conrad Fisher, Amanda Pollock from Edison School, William Fallon from Emerson School, Claire Isaacson from Field School, Devin Proud, Hawthorne School, Kirsten Steiner from Emmanuel Lutheran, Julia Ebner from Jackson School, Jacob Laspiza from Jefferson, and Kendall Lucas from Lincoln. So please join me in congratulating the I promised them that they could shake hands with the mayor tonight.
Absolutely. I'm actually going to come down, but don't move because I think some parents might want to come up and take pictures. If any parents want to come up, I'm coming down, but feel free to come on up and take some pictures with your kids. And then we will invite them to come up and shake hands with the council members.
I might also tell you that this year we offered a $100 stipend to every school that had at least 10 entries in the poster contest to encourage their participation. And I'm very pleased that we had 8 schools that had at least 10 students who participated. Yes.
They're the ones with the cameras in their hands.
I think that's the press.
Thank you very much.
They do it to us all the time.
We're moving.
We're moving, so we don't care.
Congratulations, William. Debbie, congratulations. Jacob, Laspiza, congratulations. Congratulations, William.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Jacob.
And congratulations.
Nice
job, girls. Nice job, Abby.
Hi, Claire.
Good job. What's your name?
Congratulations.
Julia. Nice job.
Congratulations.
Nice job, William. Go away, buddy.
$5.
There.
You're one of the judges. $5.
Good artists, huh? You guys are good artists. Great.
Nice job.
Check
Don't try to
all
be
of you
character.
guys. Good job, Claire.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
They're shook out.
Oh, the little hand.
At the theater.
Paula.
Where's that?
Your grandmother's.
Oh, the airport. Very nice.
right, let's have one last round of applause for Character Counts and for the strong poster contest winner. And while everyone is welcome to stay, the meeting's not going to, this is the best part of the meeting.
That's why they leave.
Great to see our kids and all the leaders of our community get behind Character Counts and behind history. So, very good. As the room clears, I would ask Clerk Spencer, actually before I ask for public comment, I ask if there's any written communications and/or petitions to the public at this time. If there is anyone that has those, please rise and present those to Clerk Spencer at this time. Anyone? All right, hearing none, I'll go on to public forum at this time. Clerk Spencer, is there anyone signed up today for public forum?
Mr. Mayor, we do, and it looks like we also have some Character Counts people that signed up, and they've left the room, and I think they've already spoken, so I'm going to proceed with these others. And we'll start with Karen Exner, 193 North Large Street.
Karen. It's always good to see Karen Exner. And you could take, actually, either mic. You're fine with the podium as well. That's fine.
I don't know if I can reach it.
You know, go to the other one. The other one's actually better, but since you were up that close, And as we all know, our rules are 3 minutes of any issue regarding Elmhurst, and Karen Exner is a sweetheart and always here to help organizations in Elmhurst. Karen, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Pete. Good evening, everybody. I'm Karen Exner, and I'm here tonight actually to talk about the Letters from Home exhibit at the Elmhurst Historical Museum. And the Elmhurst, it recently opened a truly unique exhibit, Letters from Home. It represents, it started on the 150th anniversary of the beginning of the Civil War. And this is actually the end of a year-long project for Elmhurst. Lance, the museum curator, and I had a dream to collaborate on a project for the museum. This community collaboration began between the Elmhurst Artists Guild, Elmhurst College, Elmhurst Garden Club, and the Green Man Troupe is the culmination of our efforts over the last several months. The Historical Museum's 29 letters from members of the Fisher family written during the Civil War provide a very personal understanding of the war to those who read them. To bring these letters to life, artists from the Artists Guild were asked to interpret the form into artwork, the form of the letters. This challenge resulted in stunning and unique pieces of art. In addition, the Green Man Theater Troupe provided audio readings of the letters. And you can hear, when you go into the exhibit, you can hear the letters and the different characters, actors speaking them. The City of Elmhurst Letters from Home exhibit is a great example of what can be done with our community when it works together. It's an exhibit that all of our city people should be very proud of. I want to thank Dr. Peason, the sponsor of the exhibit. He's my very special angel, and he really believed in Lance and I in this project. I'd like to thank Brian Berghager, Wes Baker, the past president of Artists Guild, Francesca Arian, the current president, Penny O'Neill, the Garden Club president, the Green Man Troupe, and Elmhurst College, Business Department and Recording Studio. Thanks so much for having me, and I hope you all go and visit soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
John Quigley, 242 North York Street.
Got it.
I'm glad you got it. John Quigley, President and CEO of the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I'm here to talk just briefly about the Got It in Elmhurst campaign. Glad to see most of the aldermen are wearing their Got It in Elmhurst pins. We have the totes that are being handed out all throughout Elmhurst at various events. I was at the York and Villette Fall Fest a little over a week ago, and we handed out 500 bags in just 4 hours. We will be at the tree lightings on Spring Road, in Wilder Park, and at City Center. We'll be at Beautiful Saturday in downtown Elmhurst, and we're looking at several other events where we'll be handing out the totes. I have left a number of totes and some Got It in Elmhurst pins for anybody in the audience who cares to take them. The new website is up and operating, exploreelmhurst.com, and we already know people have been visiting the website based on our variety of advertising. We had the Post-it note on the front page of the Elmhurst Press a week ago, a full-page ad in the Elmhurst Independent 175th Elmhurst Anniversary Edition. Coming up soon will be the community directory with a fold-out cover. There will be, to all residents in addition, there will be door hangers being sent out and a variety of other places that you're going to see the Got It message throughout town. Last on this, as the leader of the business community in Elmhurst, I want to thank this administration and this council for supporting business development in this community and doing it with the dollars and not just with the words. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Tamara Brenner, 137 North Caroline Avenue.
Hello, I would like to comment on item K on tonight's consent agenda, which is regarding a report out of the DP&Z committee dealing with notice and publication requirements for proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance. I've been following this issue since May, and we've got now a report that's scheduled for approval tonight. One sentence in there reads, "The committee agreed that there should be further discussion on how to notify people of proposed zoning ordinance text amendments and agreed to begin these discussions in short order." I'm in agreement with this sentiment, and I think that's really important that these discussions happen. My concern is that this intention is going to get lost in the mountain of paperwork that gets created in a city government like this. And I'm wondering if it's possible to have these discussions before approving this report, because this is really not an emergency situation or anything, or failing that, if there could be some assurance that this remains as an open agenda item on the DPZ committee somehow. I would also like to suggest that one other way of notifying people, things were discussed at the zoning commission and also probably in the committee meeting, which I was unable to attend, but I'm not sure if people discussed the potential of notifying people of planned proposed text amendments where the city is the petitioner, being published in the Front Porch newsletter, which is first-class mail that's sent to all citizens in the city. That might be a way that the committee could consider as a notification mechanism. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
And last, we have Terry Pastica, 182 North York.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Terry Pasca. I'm the executive director and a community lawyer with Citizen Advocacy Center here in town. I have 3 items to touch on briefly. One is the council rules of order that are before you tonight. Secondly, the text amendment notification. And third street, a question about Han Street development. The first issue regarding Municipal Code 2, subsection G. The Finance Committee has been doing a lot of work on this. You guys have been having a very good discussion generally about council rules of order. The issue of concern that CAC has been focused on is when does the council or a committee have a right to remove an individual from a meeting? And I think we know that this was prompted from an individual actually being removed from a meeting about a year and a half ago. And some of the CAC's recommendations have been incorporated, which I appreciate. Thank you very much. Some of our recommendations have not. And I think we're coming at this from 2 different perspectives, which is fine. But one recommendation that I would like the council to consider tonight is in the section where it talks about the committee or a council's ability to remove an individual from a council, from a meeting for inappropriate behavior, or one of the litany of behaviors that has been identified. I think it should be specifically included in the minutes what the behavior is that the individual was removed for, because it's a way to document what happened. And that wasn't included in the draft, and I'd ask you to consider that. The second thing is where you're talking about public comment, as the mayor made reference to the 3-minute rule. The 3-minute rule is not in your rules of order, and I would ask that you think about making that section more specific. CAC and Jim Ryan's class at Benedictine were joined together to actually push the changes in the OMA that mandated disclosure of public comment rules, and so this issue is dear to our heart, and not everybody knows that it's a 3-minute rule, and they wouldn't know about it until they get here and they hear that verbally, and so we would ask that that be put into the minutes or into the changes. Regarding the text amendment notification issue, I don't think it's such a cut and dry item that is on your table tonight, and I'd ask a member from the Development Committee to maybe give a little bit of background on this before you vote on it tonight, because it's not just simply getting Elmhurst Code in line with state statute or current practice. It actually has more significant ramifications, which is prompted by a different text amendment related to height changes. And then the last thing is Hahn Street. I was at the presentation where David Strasberg talked about his plans. There was a comment that information was going to be put on the City of Elmhurst website, and I haven't seen that yet. So if we could have an update on that. And to your students and state and local government issues, some of the issues that are on the table tonight are really good, meaty, practical issues that are good for debate, as I'm sure the mayor and CAC would tell you about. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Pastiga.
Okay, that concludes public forum, Mr. Mayor.
All righty, I will officially close the public forum portion of our meeting, go on to our consent agenda. At this time, if there is anyone that has a question or maybe want to vote no on any particular item on the consent agenda, please indicate that now. Alderman Mulliner.
Item F.
Item F. Anyone else? Alderman Pezza?
Item K.
Item K. Anyone else? Alderman Gutenkauf.
Item J.
Item J. All right. Anybody else? All right. I would ask for a motion and a second to approve the contents of the consent agenda, less items F, J, and K at this time. Alderman Dunn with a motion. Second by Alderman Brown. And I would ask Clerk Spencer to call the roll, please.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Palumsky.
Aye.
York.
Aye.
Pipskin.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Morley. Absent. Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Pezza.
Aye.
Gutenkauf.
Aye.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent.
12 ayes, 0
Wait,
nays.
I left out Mr.
Excuse me.
Leader. I'm sorry. 13 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent.
Corrected. 13 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 absent. The consent agenda is approved, less items F, J, and K. At this time, and actually before I ask for a motion to approve item F, I would just like to indicate that this item F is regarding a police commissioner appointment, and actually hopefully the future commissioner is appointed. She is actually here in the council today. She's a fine young woman who's done a lot for our community. She's on virtually every volunteer committee, from referendums to mayor's task force when we recently were elected back in 2009. And she comes from a family of police members, 5 police members in her family, and actually a brother who is a former prosecutor as well, too. So, and I believe her grandmother was the first Chicago police officer ever sworn in the city of Chicago. So, a little background on this individual. But with that, I would ask for a motion and a second to put item F. Actually, I'll ask Clerk Spencer to read the appointment first, and then I'll ask for the motion.
With your advice and consent, I will appoint Gina Brigham to the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners for a term to expire on May 1, 2012, replacing Donald L. Alexander, whose term expired in 2009. Respectfully submitted, Peter P. DeCiani, III, Mayor of City of Elmhurst.
And I ask for a motion in a second. Alderman Levin with a motion. Second by Alderman Healy. And discussion. Alderman Mulliner.
Yes, I have some grave concerns about this appointment, not the individual who is taking over. I have no concerns about that person. I'm concerned about the fact that Mr. Alexander has been on the commission for a period of 1 full term and almost the completion of a 2nd term. His appointment was supposed to take place back in 2009 for the 2nd term, and we're now close to the end of his 2nd term, and we're now making this appointment with major decisions that are going forward at the Police and Fire Commission. Mr. Alexander has asked very politely to stay on that commission for the period until his term would expire normally, understanding that he was not reappointed, but he's only looking at a period up until May 1st of next year so he could finish up the projects that are currently on the burner right now. So I would respectfully request that Mr. Alexander remain on the commission, and that if we'd like to make the appointment for the new person, that new appointment take place on May 1st when the appointment for Mr. Alexander ends.
Alderman Levin.
Well, obviously, there was some bit of controversy about this, or it would have been pulled, and I will tell you that I have spoken with Mr. Alexander, and I am sympathetic to his request. But in looking back at it, the fact is that his appointment was not made. It was just allowed to run from the time when it could have been made. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, here in Elmhurst, we have a number of qualified people who want to step forward and serve on our boards and commissions, and Don Alexander was one of them who has served, and I thank him for his service. I have enjoyed speaking with him about his service, but I think the point I wanted to speak to is that under the state statute, under the Police and Fire Commission portion of the municipal code, the commissioners serve at the pleasure of the mayor. It's the mayor's choice to nominate a replacement. Whether I or anyone else would ask Mr. Alexander to stay or not is not really the question before us. The question is, the mayor has made a nomination. Not to say that Mr. Alexander wasn't quite qualified and didn't do a wonderful job, because I believe he did, but our question is the proposed candidate someone who will properly fill the position? And my practice would be that whether I agreed with the mayor or not, if it was someone who was qualified, I would back that nomination. In this case, I think that we have a candidate who, and I'm glad to see that there was a replacement resume which shows a little bit more about what kinds of community contributions have been made by the candidate. So for that reason, I don't think it would be appropriate to second guess the mayor's choice at this point unless there's a concern with qualifications, which I for one don't have. And I want to thank again Mr. Alexander, but I will support the nomination.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other questions or discussion? We can do this by voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Point of order. I still have a question.
Okay.
And another comment.
Sure.
I request to table this until November 21st, 2011.
Motion fails for a second.
Second.
She said.
Alderman Plumsky seconds. Okay. Very good. And a motion to table, does that go by vote, or is that just a?
Voice.
Okay.
No discussion.
No
on it.
discussion, no discussion.
Just table.
It's just
Only
table.
on the period of time. There's no discussion on the table, just
Okay.
on the date.
Okay. So this would be a motion to table.
The date certain? I didn't hear the alderman, but what was the date?
The date certain. November 21st, 2011.
Okay. And we can do this by voice vote. If we want to table this, we can table it, or if we decide not to table it, then the vote would be a yea to table. A vote no would be a vote to vote tonight.
On the table. There's no voting at a table.
No voting on the table.
Yeah,
There's a vote, there's no discussion.
There's a
There's no
vote.
discussion either.
There's definitely a
Yeah,
vote.
you're right. I'm
There's a
sorry.
vote.
Yeah, we didn't defer it. We
So all in favor to table this, say aye.
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 All in favor all not in favor to table this, say no.
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 Noes have it. Opinion of
Point
the
of
chair.
order. Roll call vote, please.
Okay, we'll do it by roll call. Okay, Clerk Spencer, if you could please call the roll on the table, please.
Okay, that, Mullenor,
Aye.
Palumsky,
Aye.
York,
No.
Hipskin,
No.
Healy,
No.
Levin.
Aye.
You want to table it? Okay. 3. Okay, Kennedy,
Aye.
Morley's absent, Wagner,
No.
Pezza,
Can I, point of order, make a clarification? Are we, is that allowed?
Yes.
I'd like to clarify if we're voting for the date or for the tabling?
Tabling with the date certain.
With the tabling with the date. Aye.
Gutenkopf,
Aye.
Leader,
No.
Dunn,
No.
Graham,
Aye.
7, 5, Okay, 7 ayes, 6 nays, 1 absent.
Okay, and I would vote no, because then I would, no?
Point of order
Wait.
failed.
Majority? Okay.
It's fine.
2/3.
21st.
Okay, so it'll be tabled to the 21st. Very good. Okay. We go on to item I. It's a report. I'd ask Clerk Spencer to read the recommendation, please.
No, I think we have J and
Excuse me,
K
J.
left.
I'm sorry, you're right, J and
All
K.
right. Item J. It is therefore the recommendation of the Finance, Council Affairs, and Administrative Services Committee that the City Council direct the City Attorney to prepare an ordinance adopting the amendments to the City of Elmhurst MCO Chapter 2 as detailed on the attached draft ordinance. Respectfully submitted, Finance, Council and Affairs, and Administrative Services Committee, signed by Stephen W. Hipskin, Chairman, Mark A. Mulliner, Kevin L. York, Vice Chairman, and Scott Levin.
Point of order, did we need to vote on that previous recommendation?
It's tabled.
It's tabled. Let it fail.
Consider it.
To a date certain. Table to the 21st.
That is tabled till November 21st, correct?
So it can go back to.
It doesn't go back to committee, it'll come back to the vote.
It comes right back here. It comes right back here.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And I would ask at this time for a motion and a second on item J. Put that on the floor, please. Let's see here.
One, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, Hipskin, second by Vice Chairman York, and discussion, Chairman Hipskin.
This is our about a year-and-a-half attempt to revise the entire municipal code. We've gone back and forth on this for quite a bit. Is there, I think it was Alderman Gutenkopf. Did you have some questions? Okay.
Alderman Gutenkopf.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I didn't have questions until a member of the audience raised 2 points, and I was hoping that the committee would address why or why not it would be pertinent to add definition of the length of time that a member of the public can speak in front of this body, as well as is it pertinent to amend this to include adding a reason that a person would be ejected from a meeting to the minutes from that meeting? Or is it implied that the action of the council would already be included in the minutes?
To the first piece, Alderman, I'll defer to Alderman Mulliner, and we're talking about here 3 minutes. The 3-minute rule.
The 3-minute rule, really, the rule is actually not a 3-minute rule. What the rule actually says is that we can have 45 minutes worth of public comment, and traditionally in Elmhurst, we have set that at a 3-minute window. And the idea being that after the 45 minutes, that would be too much time. If we identified through the list that we have of the people who signed in that there was significantly more people, we would want to restrict that time frame. It would give the flexibility to the mayor or the chair of the committee to reduce it or extend that time if appropriate, but it would be for all persons participating in the discussion. It would not be just for one person. It would be for everybody discussing it, and it would be set up as they begin the discussion. So if there was a discussion this evening and the entire council chambers was filled up with people who wanted to discuss an item, that would give the mayor the authority to change that from a 3-minute to potentially a 1-minute time frame, so that we have that ability to control the length of the meeting.
Thank you. Is it?
Alderman Gutenkopf, follow up?
Yeah, just a quick follow-up. Would it behoove us then in some way to make it clear before people come before us that there is a time frame for individual speakers, and do we do that in any fashion?
It's currently on the sign-up sheet, and it's highlighted on the sign-up sheet so that when they sign up, they know the approximate length of time.
Thank you.
In addition to that, the flexibility of 45 minutes, we've gone over 45 minutes many, many times. I think it's appropriate, depending on the situation, to go over the 45 minutes. And I know we have many times. So it's a flexibility that's built in there, but there has to be some parameters around it, but we don't, you know, I don't think we could codify exactly what we want, because if it was exactly 45 minutes and it was a topic that was very emotional and very concerning to the town, I'd want the flexibility to extend that on. So, does that, okay. And then on number 2, your second question was putting in, you know what, I don't think we.
Well, if anything happened in front of the council, it would certainly be in the minutes. I don't think it's something that was actively considered, because anything that was important is by definition supposed to be included in the minutes, so it wasn't an intent not to exclude them from the minutes. The other point is that I've been on the council since December, and I joined this particular committee after the elections, and I walked into the review process that has been going on for a long time, and at a certain point you have to say, let's pull the trigger and get the rewrites out there. The citizen advocacy group's representative did attend one of the committee meetings, and I think it was very constructive. We incorporated a number of changes. I wouldn't call them negotiated. We just thought they made good sense and made amendments based on what was done. But it's difficult to come to the council after all we've gone through, and it's been pulled back once already, and propose changes. It's really easier to do it at the level of the committee. I do think that and particularly in view of their comments, we've made some very good changes in terms of when someone can be thrown out of a meeting, and it's fairly objective, and we took some of their concerns that were about not violating First Amendment rights, which we of course care very much about, and we incorporated some of those things in here. So all in all, there was a lot of discussion on this, and I think that this is going to be a good rewrite that'll help us clarify some problems and make things go more smoothly in terms of how our meetings are run in the future.
Very good. Alderman Pezza.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to add a thank you to Chairman Hipskin and the committee. I had some concerns regarding the tabling of an item and the deferring of an item that were originally presented as changes, and I had expressed those concerns to the chairman and asked that it be discussed, tabled and discussed further, and I appreciate their willingness to do that, and I think after that discussion, I am pleased with the decision and the changes that were made regarding those issues, so thank you very much.
You're welcome. And, you know, it would be remiss of me not to thank the entire committee, our staff, Marilyn Gaston, our attorney, Don Storino. There's a lot of work that's been put in, a lot of hours have been put in under this rewrite. It literally was almost a 2-year process, and this is chapter 2. How many chapters? We have a lot of chapters to go. So it's a lot of work. These MCOs really evolve over time, and this is an attempt to really clean it up. So I would like to thank the entire Finance Council committee and staff and the attorney. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Anybody else for discussion? And we can do this by voice vote, I would assume, because it is a report. All in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody not approved, say no. Ayes have it. The report passes. On to item K. There's another recommendation. Clerk Spencer, if you kindly read the recommendation, item K.
Therefore, the Development, Planning, and Zoning Committee recommends that the City Council approve the applicant's request for zoning ordinance text amendments. The City Attorney is hereby directed to prepare the necessary documents for City Council approval. Respectfully submitted, Development, Planning, and Zoning Committee, signed by Stephen Morley, Chair, Danny Polumsky, Vice Chair, and Norman Leader, Alderman, 2nd Ward.
And this item asks for a motion and a second to put this particular report on the floor, please. Alderman Polumsky, Chairman Polumsky, and Alderman Leader. With a second. Discussion? Vice Chairman Polumsky.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A little bit of background. Some of this began before I was on the DP&Z committee, but this spring, once there was a request to change the height limit in one area, the C4 district downtown, from being conditional to being permitted, This was posted as if it were a text amendment where it was not clarified if it were what type of amendment it was, and that was brought to the attention of the City Council. Since then, there's been the effort to take a look at how the text amendment has been written and how amendment has been written and how we could refine that to differentiate better map amendment versus text amendment. And separately, I believe that what we discussed in the committee has to do with under what conditions would not just one building but a specific area sort of act more like a map amendment and not necessarily text amendment, and I think that's something we want to further discuss. And also possibly how would we notify people differently in those conditions. But for the time being, following the Zoning Commission's recommendations, the committee agreed to approve the text amendment clarifications and as they're written, so that right now we have the differences between the map amendment and the text amendment as they are, and we will continue to look at how we best notify people. Whereas the map amendment has a letter notified to people, the text amendment is just posted. So we're going to discuss other ways to notify residents.
Very good. Alderman Leader.
Just to amplify a little, first of all, this was passed by the Zoning and Planning Commission unanimously. Second of all, Elmhurst has the most liberal reporting rules in the state of Illinois. We stand alone in map amendments. We actually are 100% beyond what is required. We go 100% in map amendments. Now, on text amendments, we meet state standards. There are no communities in the state of Illinois that require notification on text amendments in terms of 250 feet or 500 feet. There are none. But I would say this, that there are text amendments and there are text amendments. And sometimes a text amendment may be kind of a Trojan horse for a map amendment or vice versa. So we have to be careful how we apply text amendments. But in terms of what we have before us, this makes no changes, again, to the most liberal rules applied to notification in the state of Illinois. And again, this is not about increasing height, though, as Alderman Pawlowski said, that's how this began. So, but what we have before us is a rather narrow issue. There's nothing revolutionary here. There's nothing that's going to change anything. But I think that we have to take every case as it comes before us and be careful to say, well, let's use text amendment. Let's define it very, very carefully before we do it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Leader. Other questions or discussion? Alderman Pezza.
Thank you, Mayor. This report in and of itself, I find it very open-ended as far as the details in the report. And if you reference the third paragraph that states, the committee agreed that there should be further discussion on how to notify people of proposed zoning ordinance text amendments and agreed to begin these discussions in short order. That in and of itself tells me perhaps this wasn't fully vetted. Is this accomplishing what it was set to do? When are these discussions going to occur? After the discussions, then what? Will we come back and amend this amendment? How will that happen? When will that happen? You know, what is the discussion set to actually accomplish? There's so many questions, and I feel like we're going to be piecemealing this. It's been like this forever. I am not sure why we would approve something that's leaving things open-ended and pretty clearly stating it still needs further discussion, and then having to vote on it when we are all agreeing that there are still questions and still items that need further discussion in which to clarify the question that arose in the first place. So I cannot support this with the information we have and with the report the way it is left so open-ended.
Alderman Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I read this report, I had the same concerns as Alderman Pezza, and I was hoping for further clarification from the committee on this report. The recommendation itself doesn't tell me much in regards to what are we doing. From the summary that I've heard from the committee members this evening, and I'm sure that it was discussed on multiple occasions, I know so, I should say, and I'm sure they did their due diligence on this issue. But the summary here this evening was along the lines of no changes, but we're going to still discuss it. And if that is the case, then I would have to agree with Alderman Pezza. Why are we moving forward with a report that says, let's not change it now, but we're still going to discuss it? To me, that means there's still work to be done, and the committee acknowledges that work is a necessity. So I would say that if there are questions, and the report clearly states that by saying that a further discussion is needed, then I would recommend that the committee pulls this back to committee to discuss this further and vet out and resolve those underlying questions, and then have a report that includes those recommendations to the full city council. I think procedurally is a big concern here, and that sounds to be one of the biggest open-ended areas from what I'm reading in the report and what I have heard from the committee members this evening. There's definitely concern, text amendment, map amendment, both of them could be big. Map amendment changes could impact a large scale of the town depending on what area is being requested to be changed. So I would like to recommend or strongly encourage, if you will, that the committee pulls this back and further discuss this so we won't see that third paragraph being additional discussions are in order. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other questions or discussion? Alderman Plumsky.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to provide some clarification. While this effort came out of a specific case, I think this brought to light the need to clarify where the ordinance intended to say the word text, where it just said amendment. So I think the intention of the committee and first the commission was to put in the word text where it just said amendment, and that is pretty clear to everybody on the committee. And I think what we all agree is even if that had been there, sometimes there are parts of our city that maybe one district really only affects a certain group of people in town more than it does others, and under what conditions can we notify those residents living nearby differently. So had this been clear from the beginning, I still think there would have been the opportunity for us to discuss different ways in which to notify people. So I think Alderman Leader and I would stand by this report, but still also the further discussion is not related to inserting the word text where it was missing, but on other ways to notify people under special conditions. Thank you.
Very good. Alderman Leader.
I would also say that we're talking general and specific here. As each specific map amendment comes before the DPZ or the zoning and planning or the city council, each one will be taken on its merits. Each text amendment will be taken on its merits. There is a general consensus that we must be careful here. We must examine very carefully the text amendment that comes before us. But again, we're talking general. We're talking a policy. And what we are up here is policy makers. That's our job, policy makers. So we're setting a policy. But when it comes before us, then we can get very, very specific. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other discussion? Questions? Alderman Gutenkopf.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure that the questions that council members have has to do with the quality of the text amendment coming before us. It really is much more basic than that. It's really about how are we changing the existing practice simply by identifying within the code that some of our existing practice applies to text amendments and some of it applies to map amendments. I think the basic concern here is more fundamental than that, that our practice has been to notify all residents within a prescribed area of either kind of change. And by narrowly defining these kinds of changes, we're substantially changing our practice. And that I personally am left feeling a little bit of a void with that paragraph that's been mentioned, that there's going to be further discussion about how to do it. And I'm not comfortable that without that further discussion about how to do it, that this practice change is appropriate. I think we do need some of this kind of notice, and I think you're right, every text amendment is different, but that's kind of the point. And that there are potentially substantial text amendments coming down the pike, and by changing this now, we're taking away any of these requirements to notify people who live nearby in means that are very expeditious and get that message out to as many people as possible. So because of that, I'm not comfortable with this. Had the report included some specific recommendations about how those notifications were going to happen, I'd feel a lot more comfortable. But it doesn't, and so I can't support it in its current form.
Okay, thank you, Alderman. Alderman Pezza?
Thank you, Mayor. After hearing more of the response to these questions, I'm even more concerned. I think the big question here is, and this is where we don't have an answer, are we actually raising the bar for the minimum standard of notice required for a text amendment or a map amendment? Are we changing it? Are we adding additional requirements? What is it we're doing? We don't know, and that's what this comes down to. Will it be done on a case-by-case basis, in an ad hoc basis? Until more of that is clear, I think they go hand in hand, and I think we need the further discussion before we can talk about this in such a broad manner. So,
Alderman, our professor, City Attorney Storino, would like to make a little comment.
Whether you want to discuss it more in greater detail, it's entirely up to the will of the council. I have no opinion on that whatsoever. But I just did want to point out that what has been happening over the course of I don't know how many, the last 20 years, is in fact you have been providing notice pursuant to the state statute. You've been giving notice on text amendments by publishing. That is exactly the way you've been doing it. And maybe we're the culprits here. We took a look at the section of the code, and as Alderman Polumsky said, where it said amendments, it didn't specifically say text or map. We thought that would create some ambiguity or confusion. So we thought, in an effort to be in complete compliance with the state statute so that everybody knew what was expected on a text amendment, you would in fact add the word text where it said amendment, so that there was no confusion. But the only reason I'm piping up is because, you know, the history of what's happened here is that over however many years, when this was last amended, it has always been, from a methodology standpoint, publish for text amendments, send out notice for map amendments. That's all I wanted to say.
Very good. Alderman Levin.
Well, I do understand why it makes some sense to try to do the whole thing at once, but particularly in view of what City Attorney Storino said, it does also reflect upon the fact that what we're doing is just trying to make sure that our ordinance is essentially complying with what we're doing in state statute, which doesn't mean that we couldn't clean that up now through this amendment. I take the committee at its word that if it's going to look at the rest of it in short order, it will. So I think I'm inclined to go ahead for my vote and let this amendment get through and get on with the rest of the business as a separate component.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Bram and Alderman.
Thank you. My concern is still from the standpoint of clarification. If this is as simple as stated, adding the word text in front of amendment throughout our MCO, I would like to have understand going into this meeting a marked up version of those changes to understand what that impact was, how it impacted text amendments, how that impacted map amendments. I think in previous years, since there was no definition, either text nor map, it allowed for the city staff to have some type of interpretation. I don't know how many cases that may or may not have affected, but I know that this quote-unquote clarification would definitely put us down one certain path. And if we're aligning with the Illinois statute or not, if we did before or not, I think it's setting our policy going forward, and that's what this would do. And I would like to have time to actually evaluate what this addition of the word text throughout this area of our code, what impacts it would have. And again, I will refer to that paragraph 3, being that if there is further discussion, and that is a large piece, being the notification process, I think that's a big impactor. So as Alderman Gutenkopf and Alderman Pezza has already stated, but I cannot support this as it currently stands. I will reiterate, I would like to see a complete report with the notification portion included. So I would like to recommend once again for the committee to take it back to further discuss, since this has been the way it has been since at least 1992. I don't see any possible impact we can have waiting another 2 weeks for further discussion and further clarification with possibly the amended changes to the report, so everybody would understand exactly what they are voting on and how it will impact policy moving forward.
Mr. Mayor?
Yep. On 11?
I just want to make sure that as I was reading this, I understand Alderman Bram's concern, but I assume that by approving this, it's telling the city attorney to go through and prepare the ordinance that would show just those changes that Alderman Bram is concerned about, and then it would come back to the council for a vote and discussion again.
That's correct. Right? Alderman Gutenkopf?
Yeah, I guess my question is more of a clarification. So, City Attorney Serino, are you telling me that we have always only published text amendments in the paper and for map amendments mailed to residents? We've never mailed to residents or surrounding property holders for text amendments?
That's my understanding, yes. That in fact, we look to the state statute every single time, and the state statute with respect to text amendments specifies the publication policy, which in fact, as one of the aldermen said, the administration went ahead and did. So I am unaware of any situation where we deviated from that practice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Gutenkopf. Alderman Gutenkopf, or Alderman Pez, I apologize.
Thank you, that's okay. I just want to be clear, because I'm sure a lot of people are sitting here going, what the heck are they talking about, and how did this even come up in the first place? The way it came up in the first place was the city applied, filled an application to make a text amendment, to basically change the zoning in a whole district, raising the allowable height from 45 feet to 65 feet with no setbacks via a simple text amendment, which then meant no notice had to be given to anybody. No notice was given. It was questioned. It was going to have an impact on a lot of residents in the first ward. Alderman Gutenkopf and I saw this request, questioned it. That is what prompted this further discussion, because it wasn't clear what we do in that case. So that's why we're talking about this. And to me, the fact of the matter is that if we still have this many questions, and it still came down to whether or not we can change the zoning in a whole district via a simple text amendment, I have a huge issue with that, especially when no notice is given to people that it will impact. So once again, to me, this report pretty much means nothing, and I still can't support it.
Thank you, Alderman. All right. Any other questions, discussion?
A question for
Chairman Polonsky.
clarification. I was under the understanding that notice was given, it just wasn't mailed notice? That this was notice given as it were a text amendment, is that correct?
Correct.
Correct. Thank you.
Alderman Pezza, follow-up?
I'm not sure that that's the case, because originally, it was back and forth. First, there was no notice. It didn't say notice was given. Then when it was questioned, suddenly on the website, it showed notice has been given. And then when it was questioned again, that was removed. So I'm not sure how that all went down.
Well, it was a text, you know, and I defer to Alderman Pezza. I couldn't sit here and say exactly what was done in that situation, but I know that my understanding was that it was to be handled like a text amendment, which would have had the notice in the fashion of a text amendment. So I can't imagine we would have done it any other way. Than Werner isn't here this evening, but I will definitely check with Than tomorrow.
Very good. Alderman Leader.
Again, as I understand it, this was never officially brought forward. It was withdrawn. It never went before the zoning and planning. Well, I'm talking about this idea of a text amendment of raising the height from 4 feet to 6 feet. It was withdrawn. It never went before zoning and planning. It never went before DP&Z, and it is not before the city council tonight. We're talking about a hypothetical situation. And quite frankly, that if it was a matter of a text amendment on raising the height, I would oppose it. But that's not what's before us tonight. That was withdrawn. It was brought forward by a staff member, as I understand this, withdrawn. Let me say it again. Never went before zoning and planning, never went before DP&Z, never went before the city council, and is not before the city council tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman. Any other questions or discussion before I call the roll? Very good. We could do this by
You should call
roll
the
call. Clerk Spencer, please call the roll.
Palumski.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
No.
York.
Aye.
Hipskin.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Morley absent. Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Pezza.
No.
Gutenkopf.
No.
I did Leader. Okay. That is 10 ayes, 3 nays, and 1 absent.
10 ayes, 3 nays, 1 absent. That report passes and carries on for ordinance. And go on to item 8, reports and recommendations for appointed and elected officials. Update from myself.
We skipped
Pardon me?
oh, you got it, all right.
Oh, did we miss one? Okay. My update is basically monitoring the status on ComEd, and in particular legislation. Veto session, as many of us knows, is right around the corner, and this will be taken up in veto session. There's lobbying being done on a variety of levels, but I'm working with, communicating with Governor's office as well as the legislators initially on the existing bill, as well as Senator Harmon, who I spoke with actually personally the other day, who is running the companion bill to potentially be a compromise. So I will watching it closely, and as we've been in dialogue with them as well too, are looking forward to their appearance here as well publicly. But right now, more importantly, is this legislation as it goes through veto, and we'll be watching it as it goes through, and we will keep all the aldermen up as to what's happening and what's involved, et cetera. So it's kind of a to be continued until probably in the next couple weeks. That's it from me. status and progress of Stormwater Comprehensive Plan. City Manager Grabowski, any updates?
Yes, thank you. I just want to let you know that the consultant is moving on schedule, that all the smoke testing was completed, including the additional smoke testing that the council approved. Some of the subcommittees are meeting to discuss their business. One in particular is the ComEd subcommittee, as the mayor just indicated, that they're busy. ComEd, as a result of the meeting that we had, did deliver some information to us on improvements, which I believe was disseminated to the council. And the subcommittee is looking at that to evaluate it and prepare a report to the council so that you can take action from there.
Thank you, sir. And any other reports or recommendations from elected officials?
I just have a question regarding the status. You mentioned, City Manager Grabowski, the ComEd's subcommittee was making some progress. Has there been any significant progress with any of the other subcommittees in the past month or so?
I believe the public the Public Relations Committee has met and are formulating some ideas, and I look, one of the chairmen is in the back, that's why I'm looking back there, and are formulating some ideas on information to get out to the public and which is the best way to do that. The other two subcommittees, or three subcommittees, are waiting for the report to be finalized and presented to them so that they can evaluate the recommendations.
Anyone else? Alderman Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In regards to the overall comprehensive plan, not in regards to the subcommittees, I know that the Public Works Committee has been staying on top of what is going on with the overall comprehensive plan. My question being is, was there anything identified that is not a necessity going forward with our consultants that we hired? I know there were some items, at least of concern when I was on committee, the Public Works Committee, some of which being the consultants doing some of the presentations here at City Hall, some of the public education effort, doing stuff on private property compared to on public property, et cetera. Has the committee evaluated those areas of the comprehensive plan, and is there any way that we've been able to find to save any money from this overall comprehensive plan effort?
Chairman Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Certainly, we are very cognizant with the money we are spending on the comprehensive plan with both the people doing the work on the stormwater and also on the sanitary side. We've spent more money as it relates to the sanitary side with all the additional smoke testing because of a lot of the issues that we've found. From a consultant standpoint, city staff has been doing a great job in committing a lot of resource to make sure that we're using our dollars wisely. And we've only had them in, we had them in for a meeting here as a total group about 3 months ago, and dribs and drabs as needed on the committee side. So we've been very wise with that. We haven't found any pot of gold to say we're saving any large piece of money, because this is a huge effort. We're being very detailed, very comprehensive in this. And I think as we go forward towards the end of the project, we'll see if there are any means for savings. But at this point, we've needed every bit of their expertise going along, and I don't see that changing much unless something drastically different is found in the reports.
Thank you. Alderman Dunn.
Just to add to Chairman Kennedy's comments, I do recall in one of our committee meetings a month or two ago that there were some level of tasks that were conducted and not fully executed because there was enough data to go ahead and complete those. So there was some effort in trying to gauge the information that was gathered and the hours that were put in, because we're billed for hours, and we were pleased to see the diligence that the consultant was giving the city in that case.
Very good. Alderman Healy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe the specifics that Alderman Dunn is referring to were manhole inspections, that there were preliminary manhole inspections done, and after that first round of preliminary inspections, it was deemed by the consultant and agreed to by staff that no additional manhole inspections were needed based on the information that they found from the preliminary. I don't recall
the dollar figure, the specific dollar figure, I want to say it was somewhere in the ballpark of 50,000, because that became part of the discussion then in relation to the additional smoke testing that we did. It wasn't a quid pro quo, but it did come up in the conversation of, you know, that there were these savings on the manhole inspections that we felt gave us a little more flexibility to get the additional information that we were going to need to get anyway, specifically for the sanitary sewers. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Questions, discussion? All right. We'll go on to item number 9. It's a resolution. Clerk Spencer, would be so kind to read the resolution, please.
A resolution authorizing the execution of a consulting agreement between Feinzoll Community Marketing and the City of Elmhurst, Illinois.
And at this time, I ask for a motion and a second to put this resolution on the floor, please. Chairman Palomsky with the motion, Alderman Leader with the second, and discussion. Chairman Palomsky.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The DP&Z committee has met again after much discussion here at the council and at the committee, and we are looking at this resolution that would authorize the agreement between the City of Elmhurst and Feinzoll Community Marketing. This is a one-year agreement. There is a cap on it of $42,500. It is looking to Feinzoll to function essentially as the city's marketing department. They've brought some new initiatives, and for the most part, they take their direction from city staff, and we look to city staff for input on the kind of job they're doing, in addition to the information they provide us, such as the dashboard, and some of the examples that they've given us, like the new Twitter account, their Facebook updates, Explore Elmhurst website, and we would like to move forward with this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Alderman Leader.
I would only say that we did discuss this in great detail 2 weeks ago. And again, the whole idea here is that Feinzoll essentially is replacing 2 full-time employees who were paid benefits, insurance, pensions, and so forth. Feinzoll is not, as a consultant, they are not paid benefits, insurance. They simply get a salary. That salary is capped at $42,500, I believe. And it is the intention to bring them before, whether it goes before DP&Z or it goes before the council on a regular basis, to explain exactly what they are doing or what they're not doing. I would also say that Feinzoll is part of what remains a city team, which includes mainly consultants and includes John Quigley, for example, includes Ken Bartels, it includes Charlie Van Slyke. So that whatever Feinzoll does or does not do is essentially part of a larger effort. They simply funnel all of these various inquiries to the others. But there is a distinct savings in having Feinzoll. And I'd also say that what this is about is that to the extent we have growth and development in this city, to that extent we can avoid, to the best of our ability, raising the property tax levy. Growth and development brings in sales tax, and that's what we live on in this city. If we don't have growth and development, if we don't make an effort to develop growth and development, we are simply going to have to fall back on to raising the tax levy and or cutting city services severely. So again, we've discussed it along with my colleague here. We hope you will support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Questions, discussion? Alderman Brown.
Thank you. And I agree with Alderman Leader. This was discussed thoroughly 2 weeks ago, or a little bit less since we last met on a Tuesday compared to a Monday. My only concern is this, and I did ask this question publicly 2 weeks ago. It wasn't answered that night. And as Alderman Levin referred to in the previous issue, well, you'll get the ordinance and those details will be clarified. I have the agreement before me, and the details aren't clarified. The biggest detail that is lacking are these nice underlines that are empty about when is this contract good for? What is the duration? Is this, and this is the question, I will reiterate the same question I asked 2 weeks ago. Does this contract start from when the last contract ended? The last contract ended April 5th, 2011. Therefore, my assumption, and I don't want to go on assumptions, we all know what happens, is that this contract then will pick up April 2011 and end April 2012. The version that I have has blank lines in front of 2011 and blank lines in front of 2012, so I don't know the duration of this contract that we're even potentially even moving forward with this evening. I know that there was some concern on the dais from some of my co-aldermen about the same very topic, and I hope that before anybody places their vote one way or another on this topic, that we at least know what is this actual contract duration being requested for. Thank you.
Absolutely, Alderman Brown. Actually, City Manager Grabowski just gave me the info here. That is, the start of the commencement of the contract would be November 1st of 2011. And terminating, or actually ending, up for renewal on October 31st. There is a one-year option after that as well. So, so November 1st through 2011 through October 31st, 2012. Alderman Pezza?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick clarification, I would assume for City Attorney Serino. Page 1, letter C. Does this sentence mean that this consultant and this agreement can be extended without council approval just by staff, or what exactly does that state?
No, it says the city. My interpretation would be it would have to come before the city as a corporate authority.
Because it says the city at its sole option. So
That's meant to say that it, I mean, it says, and not meant to say, it says that we, the city, have the only option to renew. Fenzal's do not. So Fenzal does not. But my interpretation would be that this would have to come before the council before it could be renewed for an additional year.
Okay, thank you.
Questions, discussion? Hearing none, I'd ask Clerk Spencer to call the roll, please.
Palumski.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
No.
York.
Aye.
Hipskin.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Morley, absent. Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Pezza.
No.
Gutenkopf.
No.
Leader, I called leader, okay. 10 ayes, 3 nays, 1 absent.
10 ayes, 3 nays, 1 absent. The resolution passes, and we move on to other business, which is item 10. At this time, I know Vice Chairman York has other business to report. Other business from the Vice Chair.
Right, thank you. Well, I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention, I've gotten a few calls about this headline on the Chicago Tribune on Saturday related to water hike also taps suburbs. So I wanted to, in light of the calls that I received, I just wanted to take a couple seconds to let the community know that there's nothing terribly to be concerned with as it relates to sewer rates. If you look at your sewer bill, you'll see that your sewer rates are based on the number of gallons of water that you use, but the sewer rates are not going to change outside of the structure that they normally change each year when we go through and do our report in this committee. The last one dated May 24th of 2011. Apparently, it was saying in here that a lot of suburbs' rates are tied to the cost of their water. That's not the case here in Elmhurst. I'd like everybody to be acutely aware of that. Knowing that things change all the time, we have to keep that in mind, but what I did is I actually pulled out my own water bill and looked at it and said, geez, if DuPage Water Commission just raised only our water rates here in the city of Elmhurst by 25%, what they charge us, my particular water bill for this 2-month period would go up $6.83. And as a percentage of my water bill, that's about a 10% increase in the consumption of my water. When you factor in the city's expenses for improvement, maintenance, and everything of the infrastructure, it's a very small percentage, for a little over 4%. So I guess long story short is, obviously, there's a lot of things that are being reported that aren't fully known at this point in time. And we need to be aware of what's going on around us, but we also can't be alarmed at the fact that our water rates are going to go up 90% in a year, because honestly, I don't believe that's probably what's going to happen. In our latest report on May 24th, we did identify and spent some time as a committee, and staff did some research in actually having a meeting with the DuPage Water Commission. And at that point in time, the DuPage Water Commission was contemplating about a 10 to 15% increase in their rates to us, and that's just based on their administrative costs and some other things that are rather well publicized that have happened in that agency. So those will probably remain the same, although I can't speak for them. They'll probably, get together and talk amongst themselves about, all of a sudden now we're talking about, water increase here. Can we spread our recovery period out a little bit longer? It's just going to remain to be seen on what's going on there. But I'd just like to let the citizens of Elmhurst know that this isn't catastrophic. Our water rates, we don't expect to go up 90% in a year or anything like that. And to that regard, I've put together a referral that I've turned into city staff, just asking that we look into every option that we have to make sure that we can scrutinize and minimize any water cost increases that come about because of the water rate change from the city of Chicago. These are natural resources that belong to the citizens of Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Indiana, and we just need to make sure that other municipalities are held accountable and that we're not subsidizing infrastructure and water improvements in a place we can't even enjoy them. So I'll turn this in tomorrow, and just wanted to make everybody aware. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Anyone else for other business? Hearing none, announcements. Alderman Chairman Wager.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to make sure the community is aware that October 29th is a Saturday. It's National Prescription Take Back Day. So the Elmhurst Police Department is partnering with the Drug Enforcement Administration for the Prescription Drug Take Back Day on Saturday, October 29th. Officers will be on hand between 10 o'clock and 2 p.m. And the Elmhurst Police Department is located at 125 East 1st Street. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Chair. Alderman Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As in 2 weeks ago, Alderman Plomsky and myself will be hosting a third ward meeting, Town Hall, Wednesday, October 26th at 7 o'clock at Angelo's Restaurant. So I encourage all third ward residents, and for that matter, anybody who would like to come out to our meeting. Thank you.
Just another announcement. The 7th Ward, Alderman Mulliner and myself, thank you, Alderman Bram, for reminding me. We are having our town hall on this Wednesday. It's at the Community Bank of Elmhurst on Spring and Butterfield Roads from 7 to 9 p.m. Look forward to seeing everybody.
It's this Wednesday?
This Wednesday, October 19th.
Very good. Clerk Spencer.
I have some announcements. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City Center will host Bootyful Saturday on October 29th. Kids dressed in Halloween costumes can enjoy a free movie and a magic show at the York Theater at 9 a.m. And trick or treat will be in city center businesses between 11:45 and 2 p.m. Also, on Friday, November 4th, the city center will host Art at Night, Food for Life, from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Shop and dine at participating merchants, and 10% of all proceeds will be donated to United Community Concerns. And my last announcement is a reminder on Trick or Treat in Elmhurst is Monday, October 31st. Hours are 3:30 to 7:30 p.m. Thank you.
Good. Anyone else for announcements? Alderman Dunn.
Yeah, in this season of ward meetings, Alderman Leader and I are also hosting one on October 18th, which is tomorrow night. And Superior Ambulance has graciously offered their facility, get a chance for some of the residents of the ward and Elmhurst in general to get to know one of our larger employers and contributors to Elmhurst. That's tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock tomorrow. Lots going on. Very good. Anybody else? All right. I'd like to thank Elmhurst College students for coming out tonight. As you can see, Elmhurst is open and transparent, and belts and suspenders are put on just about every piece of, actually not just about, every piece of legislation that goes through this body. And I think previous councils handed off a nice set of policies to us, and I think we're improving those and making them even better and doing the same thing. So, Speaker Daniels, thanks for coming out today with your students, and thanks for all you've done for us. You think of York High School, you think of Barron's Park, you think of Elmhurst College, my alum for both of those institutions. You've done a lot for us over the years, so we thank you. With that, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn. Alderman Hipskin with the motion, second by Alderman York. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Forget.